Hey, everybody.
I hope it's recording. I think it automatically. Hello, we finally got on here. How late are we? This is
5 minutes.
7:05. We're still, what's the word? Etiquette? Tastefully late. Hi, everybody. So it's a year since we sat down together. I think we did on the 26th in 2020, coming into 2023. Which was, wow, what a bumpy ride 2023 was.
Wow, I can't believe it's been a year already.
I love that we have dragon energy again. It's so protective and cleansing, and it helps us. You know, I don't know about everybody else, but I landed and I'm grounded, and I was in free fall. A few times I jumped off the cliff. Dragons know what that feels like, right?
Yeah, we do.
I mean, I have guardian dragons. I don't identify as being a dragon, but I meld with them from heart space, and the Spock, the mind meld. So I share feelings with them and deep love. But I'm not a dragon. Not that I know of. There's always room for new information. So anyway, welcome everyone, and I'm very grateful. That's all I want. I just want to make sure I get this across to everyone that's here, every single person. And I haven't looked. I see some familiar people and some new ones, and I'm grateful to have landed and be back here on YouTube. And the dragons are holding my hands through TikTok because that's not my nature. But I love the medium, but I'm much better off over here. And it's been a long time since we've done a live, and they're back in my life, and I'm very grateful for that. And all the gifts I received this year, and the new friends. Some folks, are on break, and or never returning, and that's in my personal life. I made big changes. And I'm thinking a lot of us are in that boat in one way or another. Maybe not identical experiences, but we've all grown a lot. And I hope the same for the audience. And some brand new people are here. And it's an honor. So, Crystal, are there some things you would like to outline for us, or just wing it?
Dragon. Let's wing it. Dragon style. Dragon style. That's how we do it. All right, so I want to share with everyone tonight something that I've seen recently that I thought was kind of amazing. I was wondering for quite a while where we came from, and I'm having more and more memories come online. And I have a memory that came to me in a dream from my higher self, where I had received these elemental wings. And I remember they were given to me, and I'm like, they kind of look like little sparkles. I was like, oh, it's great. What are they? And they're like, oh, those are your fairy wings. And I'm like, good God, for what? Like, when was I a fairy? And then immediately I was swept up and taken back to a memory on the green Glowenheim plane, the solar plane. And there I was an elemental, and I was in charge of dragon eggs. And we had about 3 to 4 eggs. Each of us did. Some of us did the fairy mushroom fairies around it. And I remember it was so beautiful and green, and the trees were all wispy like hair. It was so beautiful, full of elementals. But the dragons, I was kind of like a midwife. So like I said, a normal question was, what's interesting is I said, well, how are we keeping these warm? Because I, in this world, know a lot about eggs, and knowing that they have to be heated, knowing that they have to be kept at a certain temperature. And they were like, well, it's simple. You use your fairy powers. You use a flame and you can actually illuminate them and keep them warm. And at that moment, I remember having an aura go around all the eggs that I had. I had 4 eggs in the nest that I was in charge of. And there was this aura that was glowing around the eggs, and it was so magical and so beautiful. And it was the exact color of the egg of the dragon. So, whatever solar plane that they were going to graduate to, that was their color of aura that went around them. There was an egg off in the meadow that was being shown to somebody else there, and that was a rainbow colored, had all of the colors of the chakra, the auras. Um, really, chakra is inadequate because it's more of it was all of the rays, colors that aren't even visible here in this plane. So I thought I would share that with you. So what I'm seeing is that the fairies are very closely tied to the dragons. What are your thoughts on that, Melissa?
Well, this morning, I was at my workplace. I can't share what I do. It's not the first or the second job. It's another one that came, and I will be staying in this place. It's what I've been sort of feeling for a long time. So it's a whole new area. But I had the Solar Lords. I had Josias, McCall, and Ahura show up today. So it would be Archangel Michael. It's Lord Jesus. They refer to him in the Winds of Truth as Lord Josias. So that's the name I like to use for him, because that's the higher self of Jesus. He became higher self. He was integrating. He was the master of masters. He knows how to do what we're going to be doing, all of us. But,
it's interesting. I can't help but notice that Valor and Company says that her son came to her in a transmission meditation before she knew she was pregnant with him. He was a dragon egg with a rainbow aura around him. And she's in our transmission, everyone. You can read the chat, which is interesting because of the one that I saw off in the field.
The rainbow egg.
The rainbow egg.
The solar stone for Lord Josias is the opal. And so that encompasses all colors and is sort of flaked gold and silver background. His ray is the Artrum ray, which is sort of like a platinum silvery rainbow type of ray. Look at the silver on. Okay, here we go. I didn't even, believe me, I did not plan what I'm wearing. Okay, it was just feeling into it. I had felt the silver. And so he came in, and I didn't like shift consciousness. I just sense it. I'm a clairsentient, and I get all of it. So that was
wow. I see a question. What do dragons have to do with stargates? Well, that's a really good question. It has everything to do with stargates, because people need to understand that the stargates they're actually dimensions, and it's a means of organizing different planes into existence according to their vibration or frequency. And what people need to understand is that each dimension corresponds to a strand of our DNA. And right now we have crystals and rainbow babies coming in with higher strands of DNA. And I know the dragons actually watch over the planet's chakra system, which is, in fact, the stargates, because the stargates transmit an energetic spectrum of frequencies, moving from the higher to the lower dimension to reach the matter fields and circulate them throughout the planetary network grid. The stargates actually create spirals of energy, which are designed on a frequency scale to circulate the God source energy into the reciprocal exchanges with multiple dimensions of creation. So the frequency scale of the spirals feed into the manifested realms of space and time, returning that feedback loop back to source. So right now, many of us are sensing the transmissions of the intergalactic plasma waves from source field because it's greatly accelerating now. I mean, I know everyone I talk to, they're like, where's time going? What's going on with time? Everything's speeding up. I mean, we're approaching January. I don't know where the last 2 years have gone. And I think the question was, what do dragons have to do with
Stargates.
stargates? Thank you. Sorry. The solar dragon, the Christos races, are the actual ancient builder races and guardians of the matter realm. So the solar dragons are the master architects and the authentic grid engineers of the entire planetary matrix. They come from the fifth harmonic universe. Many are specifically intertwined within the planetary landscapes. Remnants of their dragon parts can be found in geographic mountains, canyons, and seas. I think there was a question in the feed earlier about the Serpent Mound. There it is. Thank you. Serpent Mound in Ohio. Is it a dragon egg hatchery or nest? I'm going to get to that, but at the end of 2020, the dragons that braided themselves throughout the crystalline grids, which hold the holographic celestial map of the many sun stars and constellations that are transmitting organic liquid plasma consciousness technology, is basically being released. The solar rainbow dragons, elemental shields, which are animating crystal vapors into the fluids and the waters in creation. So this is all basically re-encrypting the elementals, and is purifying the corrupted astral waters, fluids, and vapors. So what is that doing to the human bodies? It's upgrading your cellular matrix in your bones, your blood, your skin, your tissues, because you're receiving liquid plasma codes with each one of these CMEs and everything that's coming through. The current magnetic shift is actually solarizing of the planetary grid and vaporizing dead energy technology and inorganic substances that require low frequency to exist. Melissa, as you said, we got people just falling off the edge that don't even talk to us anymore because they're changing timelines, and they're going where they resonate. That's where they resonate, and it's okay. They're going to get there. We're going to save them in the end, but they're taking the scenic route.
They're going to,
Right.
what they're going to do. We got our own stuff to do.
Right. We're very busy. But the master stargates and the ancient interdimensional portal systems are pouring out solar coding with upgraded RNA, DNA instruction sets, which introduce new rainbow plasma ray spectrums into the ley lines. And that's causing further ripples of plasma activations. Has not everyone been seeing northern lights where they don't belong?
Yes.
I mean, they're showing up everywhere, right?
Yeah. And if you look at the skies, and we kind of started in 2022 or 2020, it was happening for a while now, several years. I mean, the last 5 years have been crazy, but even like last summer, the sky was pink. And even with the naked eye, even if you're unawakened, some like magnificent skyscapes have been occurring with the clouds. And that's these higher and higher and higher frequencies that are making their way into this low dimensional atmosphere. And the grid work that you just mentioned, Lisa, there were Crystal, there was some videos that we just put up that address the grid system and the lights coming in. And
well, that's where all of the organites have come into place now.
Right.
And I think you and I, when we were talking about this not too long ago, it's grid. What did you call it? Grid workers on steroids, or what was it you said? It was like, oh my gosh, she's right.
Oh,
I can't.
Well, it's been quite. We have a few people on here that have been feeling it too. Just connected with someone, one of your TikTok people. Just the connection was so strong, and the frequency and my understanding, my consciousness was raising so fast. I couldn't even. Well, I also had a faulty thumb there for try to type a text with a faulty thumb. I couldn't get the words out fast enough. Even if I was in a phone conversation with a person, I wouldn't be able to speak fast enough. It was almost like a telepathic, automatic heart. Okay, it was hard because that's so fast, the portal. There's a connection, and it's overwhelming, because then when you are resonating, it accelerates, synchronizes, locks in, and it accelerates these codons that are coming in to reassemble our DNA. So it's almost, you can feel the phenomenon happening when you get resonance with other people, other consciousnesses, right? That we're all fragmented, right? But when we align,
Absolutely.
you can't even explain it, but it's, you're doing the right thing, and you're with the right
Yes.
people. And there's a
Well,
trust. I used to have trust issues too, most of my life. Not now, because you know it. And we're all sort of, breaking away from that. That used to be that fear, doubt, the ego mind. It's so much faster when you go through your heart. It's like light years more than that.
absolutely. So Valor and Company, yeah, you're right. This is the year of the dragon, and that's probably one of the main reasons I was called to do this live. I haven't done a live in a year. As Melissa said, I'm very particular who I do lives with. I see Carrie Burge has a question. Where did the dragons go? That's a great question. I mean, these beings are like huge, and like, how did they disappear? Great question, Carrie. This information is very difficult to openly share with non-experiencers, but I'm going to really try, because you need to know the truth. The process began with the hunting down and killing them and trapping our female dragons in the phantom wormholes. They made inorganic black holes with AI. A phantom black hole is a substance hyperdimensional pockets used to cloak ships, dews, and EMP blasts. So they would get the females to go in there, and the males, of course, and that's where the history of the explosion and the capture of Tiamat reveals the utter destruction of the solar feminine Christ principle, along with the fall of the solar dragons, which destroy the possibility of any authentic ascended masters being able to do their work. In fact, many cosmic Christo-solar dragons had been trapped, plunged into stases, or had their massive consciousness body parts split apart and strewn across the planet by the invaders. They remain in states of amnesia until their body parts are reassembled and integrated for multiple millennia. After the destruction of Atlantis, the invaders brought in the Mooncraft satellite and began the lunar matrix. The moon was used as a base of operations and for transmitting lunar broadcasts for magnetic field manipulation and mind control programs. Over generations, this digressed the human females, Merkaba, magnetic spin, their molecular compaction, and the reproduction distortions, creating menstruation. Some began to get black holes in their wombs, and that's when the divine feminine fell. The solar females had powerful roles as mother of dragons and high priestesses, intermediating between earthly kingdoms, and were actually targeted for extermination. This is when, of course, as you remember Salem, the witch hunts began. A lot of us dragons have had to survive and go through the witch hunts. Guardians this treaty as short-term damage control. I'm sorry, I'm getting an echo. All of a sudden, something changed. Now I'm back. Okay. The incarnations carried the highest and most complex genetics forms to gain dominion over the earth and other territories. It was during 20. I don't know why I'm getting an echo all of a sudden. Testing. Sorry, I'm channeling. Testing. A little bit. During 2021, the Guardian grid worker teams aided in the interdimensional battles happening in the Cooper Belt and houses Cooper Belt actually houses several secret space stations. The Cooper Belt, similar to an asteroid belt, but it's 20 times wider and 200 up to 200 times as massive. It's between the Kuiper Belt and the 10D Pluto matrix to recover the solar cosmic dragon of Mary, Mother Sophia. The solar Mary's body parts extended into several stargates, conflicts between the 10th, causing many grid wars and off-planet conflicts, resulting in reclaiming her massive spiritual body parts in the 10th stargate during the Tiamat's Edenic historical timelines. Along with her sacred union, she, of course, is the feminine of the masculine Christ Michael, husband. And this was beginning the Yeshua Jesus Christ mission. So right now, the dragons have awakened in England, 3 different places: the Avebury Hedge, the Glastonbury, and the Lincoln Cathedral. They've also awakened in the Mount Saint Michael in France, New Mexico, the Serpent Mound in Ohio. I think somebody asked a question about the Serpent Mound here in our feed. Grand Canyon, Arizona. And what's happening is they are reproducing themselves through dragon eggs, which are anchored on top of the dragon nodes, which are the intersection of the dragon lines that they generally embody on our planet. What are dragon nodes? They're basically supernatural transformers of converging grid line energies. It's pretty major things. And guess what that means? They're you. You are the dragon eggs, guys. I mean, that's pretty freaking amazing. You are the dragon eggs. But the big game changer came in January of 22, like Melissa said. Something happened. Well, a lot of people aren't aware, but the liberation of our 12th solar king, Ezekiel. He was our Amethyst Order Dragon King. He's a Cantarian who functioned as an 8D of our galactic center. Ezekiel was finally retrieved out of Iraq, Orion, and the Gaian matrix. He rejoined his solar counterpart and the Amethyst Order headquarters in the Pegasus constellation.
Pegasus.
Yep, Pegasus.
Well, I'm a little, yeah. I'm a little more with the Pegasi than I am with the dragon, but
remember when Ezekiel got blown up, he got fractaled all over the place. And that's where I hear everyone talking about, when's this going to end? When's the big event? We have been retrieving the solar dragons from multi dimensions from when they were blown up. That's how big this is. So Ezekiel actually, we'll use him as an example. He was incarnated into the human form timeline as a grid worker during the Babylonian Empire. Remember, he was actually a prophet in the Bible, in the Old Testament. He was a prophet, and Marduk came in, remember, and had him killed. So there is a lot of the Bible. There's parts and pieces that are true.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that answers Carrie's question.
So I don't want to dwell on the real deep negative stuff because we're not there anymore.
Correct.
We're not there anymore. We're elevating up and out of the muck. The dragons returned. And there's all different levels of dragons. There are the solar dragons. There are the galactic dragons. There are the earth dragons, the air dragons, the water dragons, on and on and on.
Yes, there is.
Crystal dragons.
Absolutely.
No kidding. There are crystal dragons. And I've been pulling dragon cards. This one came first. And it's the silver lunar. And you were talking about the divine feminine. And forgive me for having something. My throat has just been dry all day, so I have to do that. Silver lunar dragon bathes you in divine feminine light, and come into balance and practice peace, harmony, and cooperation. Expand your causal chakra. Get in touch with your dragons. We were talking about how do we call on our dragons? Like the movie. What is it? Taking care, or How to Train Your Pet Dragon.
How to Train Your Dragon. Little
They're
they
training
know.
humans. They're
Yeah,
training humans.
you're
right now.
absolutely right. The dragons are training. Well, that's where the dragon mystery schools come from, Melissa.
You want to talk about that?
The mystery schools?
Yeah.
Sure. Sure, we can talk about the mystery schools. One of the biggest ones that led the mystery school was Mary Magdalene.
Dragon
Remember?
Mystery School?
Yeah, she was a mother of dragons, and that's what a lot of people don't realize. That's pretty amazing.
That makes some sense because she could be very fiery.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the next one, Air Dragon. I got 3 here. Helps you rise above earthly matters. And I also think it's for the collective and also for our group here. So we went through the fall of the feminine, the divine feminine, because it was completely hijacked. Because there's power in it. And they wanted, we had to be enslaved. And that's where it went. We had to go there. It's part of our journey. Helps you. So the air dragon helps you rise above earthly matters. Communicate honestly. That means authenticity, doesn't it? Isn't that the big word these days?
Yeah, sure is.
It sure is. So brings inspiration and hope. See life from a higher perspective. So we take
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's fabulous because that's like you get into. They use this word detachment in spiritual maturity or evolutionary programs. There's plenty of stuff around that's non-religious that teaches detachment when you're trying to heal yourself from whatever traumas you've been through in your life and people and all how the stuff, right? So that's part of our journey into enlightenment and mastery and beyond, and integration, right? And so the air dragon is, just look at it from the bird's eye view or the dragon's eye view as they're in flight, and don't be in the muck and in that lower frequency emotion. Detach emotionally. Just pretend you're flying. You can pretend you're a dragon. You could pretend you're an eagle, an angel, something, but you're airborne and you're not a part of that. And keep your eye on the horizon because that's where the sun rises. And that's the solar pathway. And it's soul, SOL, but it's the soul. That's our ticket to ascension. It's so simple. We get caught up in stuff. That's humanity's Achilles heel.
Right. Well, let's see. Shades of Blue. Why the 11th Stargate chakra? That's a great question. Because in the early spring of 23, our 11th dimensional Atlantean solar dragon Merida reemerged from the Atlantean Golden Age invasion. What does that mean? She was recovered. Her arrival was key to complete the 11th dimension Stargate network. The solar dragon Merida is also known for her genius, intelligence, symmetrical perfection, and beauty. Her innate spiritual powers that animates living things. That marked the completion of the 22,000 year time cycle. I think Jim Davison may have asked about that in the feed earlier. All the Stargates are important, but the 11th Stargate held the Emerald Founder records. The Emerald Founder records were actually the mystery schools of dragons. The Emerald Order is the most ancient spiritual home of the Christos races, as we all know. They are actually a family of rainbow and emerald dragons, which contain one of the matrices of the Azarites, which was the first root race, which are the 348 stranded matrices that hold a total of 144 dimensions. Does that number mean anything to anybody out there? As these timelines reconnect to the cellular memory of our planet, will begin to exhibit themselves in the physical manner.
Mm-hmm.
And this 11D connects to the United Kingdom and our light bodies. So in simple terms, 11D is the planetary interface that holds the instruction sets for our pineal gland, and its connections are made in the center of the angelic human brain. That is you guys. You guys have the angelic human brain.
Mm-hmm.
So this personal light body function also applies to the planetary Stargate system and is especially relevant to the activation of the 12D Stargate network and the Gothic cathedrals, because underneath of the cathedrals is an underground aquifer system connected to major crystals that run sound frequencies through the planetary sophionic plasma rings. I think Valor and company was asking about that. So I got to go back a little bit, because originally Nibiru was the pre-fall planet functioning as the 12D galactic Stargate planet in our solar system. With the invasion event of the Nibiru displaced the organic 11D galactic Stargate planet known as Charon, that was merged with the Uranus and Saturn orbits,
Chiron.
causing
Sorry, to interrupt you. It's Chiron.
oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
Chiron, causing major damage in the time matrix. So that, of course, it became a domino effect. The 10D galactic Stargate, who was merged with Tiamat, the planet Pluto, too, was in the second harmonic universe. And then, as you know, Tiamat was a twin sister to the planet Terra in 5D that functioned as the original 5D link to the 10D Stargates for transmissions. And then after the Atlantean flood, Thoth generated an extensive inorganic wormhole network that was accessed from ley lines running through the Bermuda Triangle, Giza, and Iran. Guess what sands are in those? Yeah, she's smiling. You know
I
it.
know, because I felt it.
Yeah.
That's part of what I haven't even touched one of her organites. And I was just doing the videos and just looking at the photos all of a sudden in the last few days. And then I met, he's in the chat here, Ken. We met online, in the TikTok. And oh my gosh, the acceleration was profound. Profound. And it's because of these organites. They make it even more intense. If you think it's I gotta get my hand. I don't know what's gonna happen. New York might just go up in flames. I don't know.
Yeah, right. They're
I'm
all
an
going to be in
organite here.
danger there.
I don't know. We got some big cleaning to do.
So it's really exciting what's happening with this 11th Stargate chakra.
That's a whole show unto itself. So you're tell the audience what you're reading from.
I took some notes. I've channeled and I took some notes down, and I'm trying to incorporate everything as I go through.
Is this energetic synthesis?
You can probably confirm some of it under Lisa Renee's yes, absolutely. I would think
activating.
Yeah, you could probably. Yeah, she and I were connected somewhat. But yeah, you should definitely check her out if you haven't found her. She can, at least, if you think I sound nuts, she makes me sound normal.
Well, that's that level. That's that. If you're drawn to that, it's the website is energeticsynthesis.com. She's got something called the Ascension Library.com. It's a whole separate website with eons of. She's a librarian, a cosmic librarian.
Yeah, she's very high genius,
Very high level.
Scientist,
Ascension
biologist.
scientist. That's how she identifies herself, as an ascension scientist. So it's very interesting, and you could sit there for hours. I've done it over years. So don't if you haven't found it and you're interested, she has a lot to say about dragons and the evolution of humanity.
Thomas Lynch. He says New York is bound for ashes. Probably with Melissa getting her hands.
They made me come here. I wasn't born here, but I had to be here. And then I left and I went overseas, and then, oh no, it's time to go back. And now I can say this much. I work in Brookhaven. And that's all I'm going to say. But that location, it's one of the Stargates. They were commandeered. But we're kicking them out with our light. just being good, just being powerful, just cleansing and purging, all that stuff. I've done it, right? But we have to kind of do a daily thing. And that's good practice. What is it? Spiritual hygienic practice? Spiritual hygiene? Have you
Yes.
practiced your spiritual hygiene today?
Right. Is there a dragon-like alien species? Yes, there is. I'd like to know what colors you're seeing, Kelly. Just kind of curious. You said you're dreaming about it. If you can maybe put it in the chat, I'd be kind of curious. Yes, there are. We are cleaning out the astral right now, the waters. So there's really set your intentions when you go to sleep at night to bypass the astral and go to the higher dimensions. That's a great question.
So
I
there are a
see.
few, right? There are a few
Yes.
of those. Many.
Yes.
More than we even know about, I'm sure. But I had to make a joke. I have to. I want to keep it light. I thought about one race, right? We all know what that is. But I was thinking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because the turtles, right? We can't forget, because they're cousins, right? We talked about this, Crystal, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
Turtles and bigger cousin dragons.
Right.
And
Well,
they
they've been putting in everyone's faces. They're trying to desensitize people, so to prepare everyone for what's coming. Everyone, the ones that are not awake yet, they're still watching the news. Unfortunately, they need to be watching science fiction. They need to be watching.
they watching what they want to watch.
Yeah, but I mean, gosh, I just went and saw that new Marvel movie. It was awesome. There's a new Aquaman out. I can't wait to see that one.
I like the first one. I've been
Oh
watching
yeah,
science fiction my whole life. I bet you a lot of people on here, most of us,
right,
go that
right.
way. It helps expand your mind.
I did see a question on here about do I know Commander Iltrin or something about the galactic, or maybe it was a chakra. I know about the 11th chakra because I am part of the ground crew under Commander Iltrin. So it did not surprise me at all that the 11th organite chakra hit this realm. Like Melissa reminded me, Commander Iltrin, he's 4 iterations ahead of us, but he's commander of an intersolar quantum light starship specializing in strategic command and light support using sacred geometrical applications of interdimensional math and multiverse influence. He comes from a lineage of water singing, connecting to water, using frequency to modulate the interdimensional networking of water crystals. Remember we were talking about this, Melissa?
Yeah.
And he's an expert at space within space voids.
Interstitial.
Yeah.
Interstitial.
That, yeah.
Interstices are. If you say that in sort of like the past tense, or you hurt yourself with it.
Right. But that's basically
what it means. Yeah.
Space voids using frequency modulation of water and crystals, guys.
That's
so
how,
it makes perfect sense.
That's how dragons and krakens travel.
Exactly. And she would know. She's a kraken.
Kraken. They're dragons. Kraken.
That was a great question from earlier.
Glamorous.
I'm trying to keep up. The feed's moving pretty fast, so
no, I don't see it moving.
The website. The organites are available on earthfamilycrystals.com, and just type in the search bar organites. Maybe somebody can post the direct link in the feed, the chat.
I'll do that.
So that people that are interested in getting the organites, I do know, they've marked them. They're not charging for how much time and energy they're putting in this. This is literally just to get this out there.
Yeah, that's one thing we all have in common. When a lot of us, right? I couldn't go that way. Making a 3D living with 5D information, it's hard for me to make that happen. There are many people that can do it, and maybe I'm programmed that way. I don't know, but I prefer to listen to my heart and just do what makes me feel good. And it doesn't make me feel good. If somebody wants to hand money over or make a donation, that's great. I will accept, right? But I do a lot of artwork, right? This is art. It's metaphysical art. And so is the spiritual painting. That's what I do. I don't do organites, but I paint and visionary painting. So all of us participate. Give time to your creative skills, whether it's writing or, I don't know, nursery, gardening or whatever it is. It puts you in the zone where you can create and imagine and bring it to your environment. That's what we're here to do. Take that imagination, which is the reality, and bring it here. And then you'll be in total alignment.
I do have another interesting, I had a dream not too long ago. Actually, I have two dreams. One just came to mind. One about the organites. And this is when I really got committed to helping with this movement, this phase of our mission, I should say. Yes, Amanda, we will do an activation at the end of this chat, towards the end. Thank you for posting that. But the dream with the organites, I was in an ancient world and there was a castle and we were down in the basement, the lower levels. And it was kind of dark. There was all of the ornate carvings and wood and cherry and dark. And there was a little girl and a little boy with me, probably 6 years and 8. And there was a guy, a man, and he was dressed in kingship clothing. And he was seated. And I know this is kind of gross, but I'm just going to tell you the way I saw it. He was dead. He was taxidermied. And he was there in all of his fancy robes. I know, right? And the one little boy's like, I'll go down and check. And I'm like, no, let me do that. And I went down there and I immediately could sense his frequency. He was a pedophile. And I sat an organite at his feet. And I literally saw within moments, almost if I can describe the atmosphere changing like Andromeda, sparkles. And it started, the whole room, it just got bigger and bigger until it just sucked him into a black hole. And he was gone. Just because I sat that organite. And it was a bigger one. It wasn't like the ones that the team is making. So it was very interesting. And then I had another dream here recently where my husband and I were driving in one of his vehicles and we were heading on an expressway and we were heading southbound. And I noticed in the blink of an eye, we were heading on a same road, but it was in a higher dimension, going the same direction. And we just kept driving further and further. And everything started becoming really green and beautiful. And there were trees and we were intertwining through this road. It was almost like compare it to Scotland or Ireland. It was so green and beautiful. And I said, stop the truck, stop the truck. And I jumped out. Over to the left was all of these little elementals. And there was a horse, a little miniature horse. And I remember it was brown and it was prancing around and it had wings. It was like a little Pegasus and it was flying around and they were all chasing each other and running around this big tree stump. And there were ferns and fairies everywhere and they were playing. And I told my husband, I'll catch up with you later. And next thing I know, he was gone. And I lost there. I can't explain time there, but I know I'd been there for a while and I thought, well, I better head back. The problem was I couldn't see how to get back. So there was a young lad traveling through. He's probably a teenager, 16 maybe. And I told him my dilemma. He says, oh, don't you see the road? Just follow the road back. And I'm like, I can't see the road to go back. And he's like, well, I see it. So just come with me. So on our way back, there was this big place in this meadow and it was covered and it had the most beautiful flowers from like so many flowers. I can't even describe them all, but I remember this one section. It was all blue flowers. And I was picking handfuls because they were just, I've never seen anything like these. And these things were several feet tall. And he's like, oh yeah, there's an old farmer here that takes care of this, an old timer. He won't mind. Go ahead. He says, these all get shipped to other worlds. Melissa, didn't you read about something like that in one of your books or something about the flowers going to other worlds? I've never read the books that you have.
Yes. Well, yes. And that's another link I should put in here. The Winds of Truth, the Unahian script is the first one, but the rest of them, it's all related to the Solar Lords. That's how
The
I
Solar
found it.
Lords.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Solar Lords. So it was King Arthur, Lord Ahura. He's King Arthur in this dimension. This is the lower, he was able to come here and be who he was. But he's still very connected here. It's the amethyst solar plane.
Solar. Okay.
The solar
Okay.
plane, right? So the babies, the children, and not sure if it's glowinium or however we say it. But yeah, they through the perfume ray, they make flowers.
Okay.
I believe it's in our Horus dimension.
And you
And
have a playlist on that, correct?
oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I would encourage people, if they're so they can find the link to the website www.windsoftruthtrust.uk, and you'll find the books. They're not expensive, and they are profoundly activating. They were the things that I first featured on this YouTube, which I was kicking and screaming not to set up a YouTube. And now I'm so grateful to have been a part and meeting you guys and doing what we're doing. Just it's really an honor.
Well, I do want to share with everyone. I do know that Commander Iltrin, the whole ground crew, is now working with different turtle rescues, and they are shipping turtles all over the world for the organite chakra, or not chakras, the organite sea turtles. They actually make. I think you can probably see it in their TikToks. I think Melissa may have something there. They're really cool. They have sand in them. They have shells in them. They have rose quartz in every one of them. Shungai, all high frequency stuff for healing our ecosystem.
And
so
the Earth Family Crystals website features them.
Yeah, Earth Family Crystals is really helping to make this all happen, because they're able to get the crystals through them. They're real crystals. They're not fakes, because there's a lot of inauthentic crystal places around. Unfortunately, it's a bummer, but it's just how it is. So, what is our mission? That's a great question, Christine. Our mission is basically to connect to higher and more refined, vibrating aspects of ourselves by simply expanding our consciousness. So what we should be doing, our ascension, is actually pulling in those other fragments. Like we were talking about the dragons and how they've been fragmented. You need to pull in those other identities of yourself and merge them into this moment that you and I are sharing right now.
It's happening.
Yeah, it's literally happening.
Whether they pull it in or not, it's happening because of what's going on in the cosmos.
Well, dimensionally, we're collapsing those phantom pockets or timelines, because each person can technically have 1,728 timelines. Oh, okay. How many? Okay. 1,000. Thank you. 1,728 timelines. I know when I have dreams at night and they're not, it's another timeline and I don't want it, I will immediately collapse it. And if it doesn't serve my highest and greatest self and good, I collapse it and call back my energy. I'm not even leaving my energy there anymore, because it's just sustaining a fake timeline that I don't want any part of, is how I'm seeing it.
So I have another dragon card here.
Oh, yay.
And it's the silver dragon. And again, the silver. So, because, we always talk about the golden age, but the Winds of Truth talks about the great silver age. And that silver is the part of the Artrum ray, the color, not the metal. Just, this kind of thing, but with all kinds of rainbows and incredible light. In fact, that was what was inside of the Holy Grail. That's that energy. It's the highest frequency next to source frequency. So the silver dragon eliminates your potential with higher light. Access untapped resources. Look into your soul. See higher possibilities. That's exactly what you're talking about.
Absolutely. Because we want to integrate those higher selves and bring them here because we are in the alpha timeline. So we are in the highest timeline.
Well, if we just are open to receiving it, in my case, all right, Crystal is very much more thinking, much more conscious about doing that work. My way, right? Because I can't see into the other dimensions when I'm awake, like we're sitting here talking. If there are other things here in the room with me, I can't really see them, but I can feel them. And then it kind of projects into another layer of my consciousness, and I can see it that way. But I don't like literally, I don't see that way. But I do have vision. And we're so powerful that the minute we create a thought, it has the potential to become the reality in this dimension.
Absolutely.
Huge concept to a lot of people, especially ones that if you dwell on things that were maybe not so pleasant, you can create more of that. So it's very
well. What I've come to find out in my 5,526 years here, I'm sorry, 26,525 years here, sorry, is that a lot of things I've learned here, and I'm keeping a lot of things with me. We have to keep moving forward, and there's been so many things that we've been through and so many different experiences. And I've learned that acknowledge it and release it. It's that, oh my gosh, I thought somebody was typing that in there. Just simply acknowledge it and release it. Yep. That's so somebody's syncing with me here in the chat. It's like somebody's reading my mind. That's bizarre. So say something negative happened to you. At the end of the day, what I do is I look at it like it's just merely, it was an experience that I wrote into my contract. And I'm not going to let it make me bitter and influence my walk here. I'm just going to acknowledge it and release it. It's best that way. Like Shades of Blue says, live in the present. Because if you're living in the past, you can't live in the present. And another thing I do at night before I go to bed, I set my intentions. I set my intentions for 5D, for the higher, things that we're doing right now, reclaiming the earth, taking back our sovereignty, being cosmic beings. I mean, I'm looking so far ahead. I can't wait to see what the universe is going to bring me tomorrow. I'm so excited. I wake up in excitement. And I mean, just like being in the middle of doing these sea turtles and shipping them around the world. And the fact that we were able to hook up with Earth Family Crystals and they're helping make that happen. I mean, they're set up perfectly that we're able to do these things. And it's just mind blowing because we're doing what we love to do. And that's when it's awesome, is when you're doing what you love to do. I see so many here in the chat that love to create, love to paint, love to do these things. And it really excites me because we're so much alike, you don't even know. And that's where, guys, you were creators. You were always meant to be creators. And just start stepping into it and spread your wings and let's fly like the creators that we are.
So, can I just bring something up that happened, or some information that I was reminded of today? Talk about here, just very quickly. So we have the legions of light, let's say, and the winged, right? Because I named this channel Wings of Light, but I already had a website from about 5 years ago. That name just came to me. And then last year, a lot of us, some folks that are not around on this channel anymore, got together, and we had dragon, right? Dragons have wings. I know you. I don't think you like the fairies too much, dragon, though, Crystal. Are you?
I love fairies.
Oh, okay. So
We like
fairies
to
have
pick on
wings.
we like to
Very-
pick on the fairies. It's kind of
Dragons
like a
don't.
it's
You know-
kind of like a joke that the fairies and the dragons do back and forth.
Okay. So, but I change the I change it every now and then, the wings icon. So right now I've got a combination of angelic and butterfly. It looks like a butterfly, but they're actually angelic wings, but it looks like a butterfly. Butterflies have wings. We've got eagles. So the highest beings that are, and believe me, it was no joke. The message I got today was that source creator itself, mother, father, God, some people refer to, or source, is overlighting our conversations here tonight, our reunion. And Lord Josias is here as well. And that's why I guess this outfit came on. The black is to ground me, because that's grounding. It's earth, black earth. It's not a bad color. Only it is what you make it, right? So it brings things to earth. Archangel Michael, Lord Michael is the way that we refer to him in the solar planes, and King Arthur, Lord Ahura. They are all here with their legions. So King Arthur is the Amethyst Order, and Michael is the Michaelic Order. And you mentioned emerald, right? So the blue, you mentioned before the color, or what was the name of it? Azurite. Okay, the races, the blue. That's all from that Michaelic influence. It's a masculine energy, where the Ahura, they're both masculine, balanced. Not just masculine. There's the balance, the divine balance. In the higher dimensions, they don't have that duality where we have the male and the female, the positive, negative, the balance. They're already integrated, and they're unified fields. So that we think of it as twin flames here in this dimension, but they're unified fields, and they can be and do whatever they want. And so they have legions of light behind them, orders, like, as in a military type of an order. And so you've got all of that as part of the eagle wing, especially Josias, Michael, Ahura, and God. They're the close. There's like not a pyramid, but there is a heavenly hierarchy to a certain extent, but everything is interwoven. So there's order, but then everything is mixed together. And then every day or every moment we imagine, right? And things shift, and it's eternal. And things combine and then separate, and then combine and separate. So we have the eagle wing, we have the angelic wing, we have the dragon wing, the galactic wing. So that's all under Wings of Light. I did not have that information when I first set up this channel, or especially
Melissa, how long have you had this channel up?
But this is only a little over a year. But
Wow.
I had the foundational set through the websites that I have. I have a crystal healing website. I have an art website. It's a spiritual art website, visionary art. This was the last one. The wingsoflight.net website has got a lot of stuff on it as well. I did all the research and setting up. But it was all for these times now. It was like setting foundation layer upon layer upon layer so that everything interfaced at some point. And during that time, the Galactics, I've always been, especially toward the Pleiadians, very akin in this consciousness or this computer. It's like a meat suit computer that we have. Our consciousness comes in. It took a lot to get a lot of experiments for us to get like where we are right now. Even if it's been sort of stifled a little bit, nothing's going to stop what's coming. You've heard that all too many times, right? So the Pleiadians, Arcturians, Sirians, Andromedans, Venusians, and many, many, many other races that we don't know necessarily, weren't maybe portrayed in the movies, but there's lots and lots of positive, and we that's what we feel, and that's why we're here. No, it's not to ignore, because we've all been working very, very hard throughout our entire lives, all of us, to get to this point now. We're all qualified, and our mission. Somebody asked, "What's our mission?" Well, we got to bring our tribes together, because then we get stronger, and we carry it forward, and we help those folks if they want the help. They can ask for help, and we can be here to help them. And if they don't, they'll go, continue. They'll be fine. But our job is to start heading back home. My understanding is that this is the end of the road here. We went out, like, if you think about the Big Bang theory, which there's some truth to it, it expanded out, and now it's on the in-breath, going back to God.
Right.
So
and that's why we're integrating our higher selves and bringing them back in.
Right. So we have to go back through, well, of course, the universes that we came through to get to this
Correct.
maximum level. Yeah. So we're going to be going through the 11th, which was mostly destroyed from what I understand. But it's going to be restored. In fact,
Yes, it will.
Right.
It actually exists in higher dimensions.
It's yeah.
Amanda will you or can you help us activate our dragon call? Our dragon. Sorry, can't read for some reason. Yeah, let's do that. I'd be honored to help you guys. So I'm just going to do a quick activation for you. And you may have been a dragon in a past life. I was. And if you weren't, I guarantee you have a dragon guardian, because everyone has a dragon or they have a dragon guardian. Okay, so we're going to do a quick meditation to contact your dragon. I want you to just close your eyes. I want you to take a deep breath in, exhale, and ask your dragon to come to you right now. You may feel a frequency change. You may see a flash of color. You may just sense your dragon, or you may even see your dragon. You may just know that your dragon is with you right now in this moment. And I want you to reach out your hand and maybe touch your dragon. Know that your dragon has a large heart and he's pouring love towards you. I want you to embrace this love. And some of you, if you want, you can ask your dragon its name. Take the very first name that comes to you. That's your dragon's name. Lastly, I want you to thank your dragon. And you can open your eyes. It's that simple. Place your comments in our chat, what you saw, heard, or felt, because we love reading your comments. I know Melissa saw something. She's smiling.
Oh, because Toothless keeps coming to me. Okay? I just can't.
I love the Toothless movie. I love that.
So, but I actually have, I'm going to show you guys. All right. I've got them hanging on the wall here. Now, I know I've got two. All right. These things came to me a while ago. I purchased them. So, I don't know if you can see. So, this is one. I'm sorry about the reflection, but
I can see it.
Right. Dragon Lady art. .com, I think.
I was
She's
going to ask if you did that.
no, she's the renderer for the Diana Cooper Dragon Oracle cards that I was reading from.
Oh, okay.
All
Gotcha.
right. So she was the artist, and I painted the 13. Well, 13 of them came to me through this deck, and I painted. I only got halfway through it, and then La Palma happened, and I was painting the air and fire dragon, and it's a volcano with dragon with the volcano behind it, and then like La Palma, they were going to send the tsunami over here from those explosions. I was like, wow, I'm painting one of these things. So anyway, they took me off of that and put me on something else. So I never finished the 13 Dragon series, but it's about ascension. So the dragons in order came to me and told the story of ascension. And I created a book, 13 Dragon Project. And it's about ascension. It's 13 because 13 is the Christ number, but it was the 12. Okay. And I talk about in one of the videos, the Lady of the Lake series, about the 12. I was talking about a staircase there, steps, but it's there were programs named 12 steps, but it's like ascension. They're teaching ascension. It's Ascension 101. So there's nothing complex about it, but we have to experience it to learn it. And that's the hard part. So it's like
That's
a
true.
mentorship. Yeah. We're here to help those folks that want it. If they don't want help, okay, next. Who wants some help? Who wants to be here? Who wants to travel together? Like follow Yellow Brick Road, and you put your arms up, arm in arm. And that's empowering for all of us. Dragon Wing.
Well, that's all I have for everyone tonight. Thanks for coming out. Love you guys all. And, you know, I think that's a great word of advice and a great place to leave it, Melissa, is just everyone, you know, let's all walk in love together as a collective, because we're stronger together.
Yeah. And we have dragons. We can do anything.
That's right. That's
God.
right.
We have God. God's overseeing the whole thing.
I love you all, and take care.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.